Yes, we also work on European cars, much to a lot of people's surprise. They think that we only do Japanese cars, so City, Vios, Altis, and of course diesel SUVs. But we have been tuning European cars ever since we started. Like now we have a E36 325, which is getting the full exhaust treatment, and then we will check if it can be remapped, but I don't think so. So that's why we have Unichip also. It's a bit too old to remap. What we do is that E46 generation that came after this can be remapped, but this one, it depends on the computer box that came with it, because sometimes in the Philippines we get screwed. We don't get exactly the same computer box as Germany. It's cost-cutting measure or supply issues and all that. We don't know. But for BMW, we know that there are at least 3 suppliers for the ECU. You have Bosch, Continental, and Siemens. And again, it depends what the factory gets and where it's going to be shipped to. So, but first things first, we're going to be doing exhaust. We already started and we have part of it out. So this is not stock anymore. So this part obviously is not part of the original one. And this is still original. This part here is original. This part isn't. That part isn't. This is one of the headers. There's 2 pieces of it. It's a 6-cylinder, so this one goes like that. There's another piece over there. And before everybody keeps asking, is it a 4.1 or 4.2.1? It's neither. It is a 6.2.1 that we're gonna be installing. So again, read the context of what you're researching. What we'll be changing is a long tube version of this one, because as you can see here, this is pretty short. Again, like with everything in exhaust, imagine that your engine is the parking lot. These are the exits, and there are 6 exits that come out into 2 narrow roads. Obviously there will be a traffic jam here, so what you want to happen is the cars go out as fast and as smooth as possible. And I'll show you the long tube header in a while, so you'll see what I mean. Alright, these are our long tube headers for the BMW 6-cylinder. It's pretty much the same for the E46 and the E36, so this comes along with it, like so. Yeah. So it does not take any, you don't even need a high school degree to see which design here flows better. So again, let's go with the parking lot and cars going out example. So instead of all if it bunching here, so with this design, it'll have traffic here, it'll have traffic there, it'll have traffic there. So this one makes the tube longer, smoother, and it merges more smoothly here, which is what you want. And the same thing with this other set, you want it to flow as smooth as possible, and that's where the power comes from. In this day and age where everybody has a face mask, that is the easiest way to show you what we mean. So again, you really want to run a 5-kilometer marathon with your face mask on. That's the effect of what the stock exhaust and intake is. So you take it off, you breathe the same, but the effort to breathe is a lot easier without the face mask, and some people even double and triple mask. So again, this is so easy to illustrate now than 2 years ago. I have to tell people that you wear a face mask, which was like face mask, but now since everybody wore one, that's the exact same principle when we do intake and exhaust modifications. It's like taking off your double triple face mask so you can breathe better. The amount of air that goes in is the same. Your lung capacity doesn't change, but again, the effort for the air to go in and to go out, that's the equivalent of the engine breathing better. So in effect, you get more power done, you get more work done. So since our BMW is an E36, and no, these things cannot be remapped, they're too old. Back in 1996, the word remap was not even in the dictionary, neither was reflash, neither was ECU tuning. So Unichip is what we will be using to tune the BMW. Well, what Unichip basically is, it's industry-wise, it's called a piggyback because we don't remove the stock ECU. So let's take an ECU somewhere here. We should have a few ECUs lying around here somewhere. Anyway, let's assume this is the ECU, this is the engine. Unichip goes in between here. So what exactly happens is it intercepts the signal from your mass airflow sensor, from the crank sensor, and then it takes input also from the throttle sensor, which is basically connected to the pedal. And then what happens is it processes the signal, then throws it to the engine. So what all of that simply means is that we're able to control the amount of fuel the engine gets. We can add, we can subtract, we can control also spark plug timing. We can advance or we can retard. And well, this thing is so old, it doesn't have any electronic throttle, so there's no throttle control to do. But basically, in a nutshell, that's all what engines are. You have air, you have fuel, you have spark. The air you cannot control. If your car is 1.5 liters, it's 1.5 liters. Nothing on earth can make it 2 liters or 1.2 liters. You have to physically change the entire engine itself for that to happen. So the only things that you can control are the fuel and the spark. Normally, most engines are tuned on the rich side, meaning that there's more fuel injected than what's required to make certain number of power. They do that for a lot of reasons, mainly because back in the 90s, fuel standards are all over the place. And again, our octane rating is different from what we use here and from what we use in America. So manufacturers, BMW, Toyota, Mitsubishi, they all have to pretty much put in a conservative fuel map to be able to run any across fuel. Say the thing goes to Nigeria with 88 octane, the thing still has to run and perform. So that's why one way of doing that safely is to throw in more fuel, because being rich is much better for the engine than being lean. Lean is the opposite. There's not enough fuel for a given amount of air. So lean is what causes engines to go kaboom and to break. Well, not kaboom per se, but that's where the damage occurs. Flooding an engine with fuel is not damaging at all. It's just lousy for fuel economy. And the other thing is we can change with this one is the ignition timing. By ignition timing, we mean when the spark plug fires in relation to the cylinder. It's not cam timing, it's not crankshaft timing, camshaft timing. No, it's ignition timing, when the spark plug fires. On the BMW, it doesn't have a distributor. I think this one doesn't have a distributor anymore. It's not exactly a direct coil and pack, but it's electronically controlled. So the ECU tells the spark plug fire the spark plug at so and so degrees. So we can change that, and almost all the time a little bit more spark advance, meaning fire the spark plug a little earlier will result in more power, because that gives the mixture inside the cylinder more time to combust. So you pretty much try to turn every drop of fuel into energy. So less fuel, we give it a little bit less fuel, we give it more spark plug timing, and the result of all this is more power, more torque. And since we're giving it less fuel and you don't have to step on the pedal as deep as before to get the power you want, that's what gives you also about 8 to 10% better mileage. So yeah, this does it. And the Unichip works for pretty much any car with an ECU, gas, diesel. We've installed it on the latest Fortuner, latest Ranger Raptors, and the beautiful part about this, if you do sell your car, you can remove this one, we can transfer it to your next car. So yeah, we'll install this on the BM and then we'll put it on the dyno to tune it. Well, apparently our white BMW is not a real 328 after all, despite what it says on the badge, because we did a baseline dyno and 85 horses. It's still slightly lower. We're assuming that with that kind of power, it is 320 with the M50 engine, which rated about 135, 140 horses. Still a bit low for the baseline, but it is what it is. So poor guy does not have a 328, because if he does really have a real 328 engine, the baseline would definitely be something in the region of 120, 130 to the wheel. Definitely not this low. So most likely he has a 320, and apparently he bought the car second hand. It was a Japan import, so we have no idea what the history is anymore. But again, dyno doesn't lie. So sorry, dude. You only have a 320 and not a 328. So this green line is our baseline here, and then this is after the result of everything we did. So we, as you saw, we did the intake, we did the header, the exhaust, and then we put the Unichip on. So we went from 84 to 100 horse, but that's at peak here at 6,000. The big gains really are here at the bottom. So we went from 20 horse to 45 horse, from 35 to 50 horse, 45 to 60 horse, so on and so forth. And the torque also, we went up from 60 to 140, double the torque at 2,200 RPM, and we pretty much maintained a flat torque curve all throughout here, throughout the rev range, which is what you want, instead of the stock one where it peaks here at 4,200 and then gradually dips down. So as for the driving experience, this is a much better drive, meaning that it accelerates a lot faster, and then it doesn't matter what RPM you ship, you will still have pretty much all maximum torque anywhere from 3,000 to until red line. So it's a more enjoyable drive overall. Yes, again, not 328, but definitely better than when he brought the car in. My advice for you guys who want European cars, BMW 325 or E46 and up.